Am I overreacting when I get mad that my wife steps on my toes when I'm taking care of our son? My wife, female 31, and I, male 32, have a 14-month-old son, and she is always stepping in anytime he cries or whines when I'm with him trying to take care of him. For example, today, he was walking on a walker and holding a toy that I thought he would hurt himself with. He immediately started having a meltdown and cried really hard. She was working from home and stopped what she was doing, came over to him, picked him up to comfort him. I was trying to calm him down by talking to him, holding his hands and rubbing his back. I don't think he should be picked up every time he cries because I think he's learning to cry for her to get what he wants. It feels like my toes are being stepped on and that what I'm doing isn't the right thing. It's our first kid, so we are still figuring out parenting dynamics. Am I overreacting?
I mean, so I think one, if it's if it's a concern to him, I wonder if he's even brought it up to his wife about how she's
100%.
always.
100%.
You think though? I think maybe he's
Oh,
oh,
no, no,
she's
no.
the mom.
I'm agreeing with you 100%
Oh,
is
okay.
what I'm saying. Because that's a thing that me and the EP have had conversations with. Like when I'm talking to Asher and I'm like, dealing with him, she'll come in and be like, ah, and I'm like, babe, you gotta let me, because in that moment, whether it's a guy or a girl, right? In that moment, you're taking all the power away from that other party, right? The thing that I would say so I will say in general, no, not overreacting. However,
Right.
in this case that he brought up, she's working from home.
Yeah.
So she's working from home and she hears the baby crying and you have it. Now, granted, maybe it was like 10 seconds or whatever and she just went into action. But I'll put it this way. If I'm working from home and the kid is crying for longer than I deem necessary while I am working, I'm going to take care of it. Because so I can get back to work. So that is the one thing where I'm like, you might be overreacting a little bit. Maybe you should take the child to a different section of the house where she can't hear him then.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Take him to the park.
Yes. Yeah. Do even just a stroll around the neighborhood. Yeah, I think that was also weird because I know I have friends who work from home, but they also have infants with them. Like, for instance, Val would mention how when her husband is home and she's working, she expects her husband to take care of the kid because she's technically at work. She is working, just when she would drop off her kids at their grandparents for the workday. Because even though they're working from home, you still have to have that balance of yes, I have to work and not have to worry about my kid. So I don't understand why the wife would just step in. I think she has to have faith in her husband that he could take care of their kid, because what happens when you have more kids?
Well, yeah, for sure. And then the one thing that I will say for both of them, because it's a process, right? But I would say it probably took us about 2-ish years of living together before we finally had that full agreement on what is acceptable for both sides in that situation, or even just felt comfortable enough to not just be like, hey, you're in the moment being like, hey, you're stepping on my toes, and the other party to be like, you're right, my bad. It took us about 2.5 years to get to that. And they were saying that the kid is 14 months old. So 100%, like you were saying, if he hasn't, he needs to talk to his wife. He needs to let her know how he's feeling about these things, because if you don't have that communication, you can't grow from it. And the growth takes time regardless. So
yeah.
All right.
Hope you get some help, bro.
Yeah.